why don't I want to stream? Okay. So I started streaming and I'm thinking I'm not streaming, I'm recording. Oh, this software gives you the option if you want to stream it to, was it, not Twitter, what was it? I've forgotten. If you want to stream it to a website, you can do. So you can have live, was it, live games.
Twitch.
That's it. Yes, you can have it live games, but you'd have to have your cameras because people are funny like that, they need to see faces. Right, if I remember rightly, last week you had a fun week, generally doing something which, lucky enough, I sort of catered for after you decided, let's go and go and sort out and see how much the inspector knows, basically. And we'll start is I think it was Nata and Dante were summoned to see Uncle Marco to have a private discussion, of which was it, if I remember rightly, was it because Dante wasn't there. It was only that Dante wasn't there, and he had got told off slightly for it and missed the conversation. I can't say what the conversation was about for obvious reasons, but I think Vanata already knows what it's about. There was another summons for Philip from another gentleman who had a meeting in a pub elsewhere. Again, I cannot say a lot what happened in that meeting because it is between the person in question and Philip, what was actually said. I remember rightly, everybody knows this, that Felix basically got told about, was it the start of the investigation starts of the certain detective who he knows from your discussions. I think you know he's here unofficially investigating a disappearance of a journalist in Switzerland. Right, so that one we've done. And the major one was which you delayed to later in the evening, was the break-in into the inspectors, of which you put a lot of work in, and I admire the fact that two of you use your disciplines to get in and out of there. One used to get the bellboy to open the window. Dante did a really good job keeping the night manager busy. You'll certainly remember him, and it depends how smart he is to connect that to the little fire you set in the room. You got all the information that you basically just confirmed what you already knew, why the inspector was there. He was I think he was investigating the disappearance of a journalist by the name of, where did I put it? Yep, whose father happens to be a Italian MP, hence why the investigation is a little being pushed, and probably why the inspector's got away with the fact he's wandered over unofficially to San Francisco. I think what else did you find there? There's not a lot more you found. You find that his lead is Pierre, and he has a picture of Pierre talking to the Marchese in a cafe, and from what you gather is he's following the lead of Pierre because that's the last person that was to talk to the journalist before she disappeared off to Switzerland, where her car was found burnt out, but there was no sign of body or as if the body was in the car, which has led to a lot of speculation on your part. I think the other changes is Renata. Go on.
The other bit of information was the fact that he had an open airplane ticket for about 2 months.
That's
so
it.
I suspect he's here for a relatively short time,
But a long term.
Well, yeah, a bit more than a tourist.
Yes. I think also, was it with the behest of Renata, was it both Pierre and the Marchesi are now not leaving the next day. He took counsel from Renata, was it, who pointed out, and I think others had also pointed this fact out, if he actually had left, so was it San Francisco, Pierre had done so, it would have, was it, heightened suspicions, in so much he's there. He probably, if they probably has a fair idea now. Certainly have idea that they know he's there.
Well, I thought we'd arranged to have a meeting with him, or at least he'd condescended to have a meeting with us the day after the soiree, so we get a chance to potentially ask questions as to that picture and anything else.
I think
whether he answers them or not is another thing. But
no, I think you decided you hadn't actually talked to him yet, as far as I remember. No one's actually physically talked to with the Marchesi. Yes, you have. Was it talked to the Marchesi? Sorry. Yes, our suggestions were that
I missed this phone call, panicked, and then rang back.
Yes, and the Marchesi will have a talk after the party, which is the night after. Yeah, I think that was it. And I left you, was it sort of discussing that for the end of the evening, of which you would have actually all gone and wandered off to your various havens, scattered around.
Oh, we were trying to get membership of a club. Did
yes.
we actually? Well, I think somebody managed to do I think it was Renata managed to do a little bit. She was going to do that on the way home, so to speak.
Yeah, we still need to sort that out. I had forgotten that. Damn. I forgot to make a note of that.
Well, to be honest, on the evening of the soiree, it didn't matter because we'll probably be there most of the evening.
This is true. It's more of a matter of researching which clubs are actually available, and there are still private members clubs there. I think what was it? Credit cards were mentioned, as in one above the gold and the platinum.
Yes.
Of course.
Well, a black card is what I mentioned, because that's usually the sign of somebody with unlimited funds.
Or in Renata's case, was it a card from a private bank also, was it has the same effect? Even if it's some small minor banking, was it that? It's like a Coots. If it says private bank, that usually means rich people, and certain dodgy politicians use them. Certainly in Italy they probably do.
Banks you've never heard of, it's usually,
Yeah. Probably why they were looking into, was it Uncle Marco's bank? Because it's a private bank, not a mainstream bank that you would go on the high street to.
well, those sort of banks don't advertise.
No. You have to know it's there to use it, and that's Uncle Marco's bank. Though you think he's now buying into into Swiss banks at the moment, which is always that. And I think there were other bits and pieces that happened in the background. I think some of you have, was it people on the way, was it to see you? Names are not mentioned. You know who you are. Right. So, first thing is you will need to do a rouse check to see if you get any hunger before the soiree. Thank you. Yeah, that's alright. You can either do it in your own channel or the role-playing channel, it doesn't matter. But if you do it in the role-playing channel, other people can laugh.
What's the
It's... Oh, let's see.
It's a /roll.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've got it.
It depends if you want to make public certain things. It also depends on your blood potency, how many dice you roll, and it's always different. And no hunger.
We've got a point of hunger already. Do I put?
No, hunger is not counted in these rolls. That's the only thing. No hunger's counted. It's a single roll. Yeah, it's been kind to you, nice.
Don't say that, I haven't rolled yet.
There we be. Thank you, Sneezy. Yep, you're fine. Is that everybody?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh dear, disappointing. I'm going to have to see if I can sabotage the dice. Yep.
It's okay, I will waft this up at a really bad moment.
It does this, the die roll, every time. It will be kind to you, and then at the one point you need it, it will go either, messy success, or is it whatever they call it, or messy failure, which means you've just gone and
Or if you totally messed it up, a Becky roll.
yes. And with vampire, is either something nasty happens all the time, or I save it up for later. Yes, it's that sort of thing.
I'm not sure which of those is more scary. I think the second one.
Yes. Right. You successfully wake up the next morning, and for amazing thing that one of you actually gained any hunger. Reminder those which are baggers and that, to get rid of your last hunger, you're going to have to numb someone. So you can't, with bagging, you cannot, you always end up with one hunger. Almost constantly.
True for everyone, actually.
Well, for people that normally numb people, it isn't an issue. It's just that baggers don't tend to bite people. They tend to avoid it.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So it's the evening of the soiree. I think you were asked to arrive, if I can find the invitation. I think it's 11 o'clock start, if I remember rightly. But there's always a but. And the start of the evening. Right. Which one's that? Well, this one I'll have to write in Becky's channel. So I did not do a handout for this for some reason. I was good and I wrote everything else out except this. And this will be as you wait. As you wake up, and before you ask, they use burner phones. You know who this is from. Oh. Hey, you little tinker. My typing is getting worse. Right, comma there. That's it. That's done. Oh, that's that one done. Right. As far as Felix is concerned, you have a report, an ongoing report from your friend about a certain investigation, an interim report. Do you want to do this in the public or private channel?
Seeing as I'm going to tell anyone everywhere, we can do it in the public.
Okay. Josh comes back to you. He's a little surprised that they've come back quicker than expected with something. He basically says that the inspector has been flagged by the FBI, who are closely watching him, closely watching what he's doing in the US. They don't know the reason why. The reason why is not clear at the moment. It's the sort of thing they thought they better inform you very quickly about that, in so much that FBI
how did they get that information? Because essentially, I would have thought for the time span they were doing a open source.
You don't know how they did it and how and what happened, but they know that the FBI's flagged them.
Okay, brilliant. That's really good then, service.
The possibilities could be that they looked into something and may have even got a call asking why. You don't know at that side of it. So it's more likely that if he's flagged that they're watching and if they are doing a search, if you're worth your salt as a detective agency, it's always to make sure that certainly if the FBI are watching, that you don't land yourself into trouble.
Oh no, I mean that's like the biggest red flag out is that. Because basically the watchers are being watched, so we're going to have to be incredibly careful there.
Well, if they figured out they were watching, then they're going to figure out you are. And
well, what I'm more interested in is whether they figured it out before we got told.
That's the thing. All you've got is to report back, and that's it. And there is Mr. McLeod wakes up to a letter.
Ooh.
Okay. Oh yeah. Oh, it's not going to be smart enough to drag and drop. What a pain. This is when drag and drop would be really interesting. Oh, blimey, it's smart. It remembered where I was last time. What is it? It's that one. And that one is really up to you what you want to do with that.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll keep that to myself for now.
Right. The only person that doesn't get anything was it Robert, but that might be an advantage in such an evening. Right, now comes the fun bit. So, what are you going to do question is, are you going to arrive early at the party, or are you going to arrive just before? Are you going to remember your invitations?
This is a general Hikata event, right?
I think it puts down as a meeting and greet. It is a Hikata. Those of a Hikata would know that it is actually a little late, but in April they traditionally have a meeting, a party. I think it's around later in the month, but they've decided to do it early, mostly because, well, there's two prominent Hikata in the city, including one Ewan Dunson and the Marchese himself. both prominent, both was it bigwigs, and it seems to be more than just the Carter because of the fact that William's been invited.
Oh.
Oh yeah,
Well, I assumed it was the Marchese that invited me.
yes, you've all got your invitations as Becky would have given you. You need to take them along to get in. Though that could be usual ruse to make sure that the riffraff don't walk in with it unannounced. Right, now I'll need a lot. Right, so are you going to go in separately or as all one group? Are you going to meet before you go onto the party, basically?
Definitely want to meet up with William and Renata at least.
Yep.
Yeah, it might be good to show some solidarity when we enter, so that people are aware that if you mess with one, you mess with all, sort of thing.
Yep.
Do Mr. Bountiful and Mr. Dunster want to make a splash, or do you want to be more discreet and join a little later?
Oh, I'll join separately.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I'm kind of.
What then? Cool.
Well, Marchese told me to stick with you four, so I guess I'm gonna do that.
So Felix will go separately.
Entirely your choice.
Yep.
Is it though?
Say if it's the right choice or the wrong choice.
You
Yeah.
have a choice, but
Yeah.
yeah, it might be slightly obvious.
And where are all four of you meeting? Are you at Dante's place or the hotel? I think it's the Ritz-Carlton.
We could meet at a kind of club, just like a block away from the.
There is the place you used last time, which is the Ritz-Carlton Club, which is actually a separate thing as before. Because if I remember rightly, you were not meeting at the same place all the time. You were giving the inspector, the runaround at the time.
Yeah.
And you don't know what the
Well,
inspector.
and particularly anyone else that actually, he was just
Yes.
generally just keep everybody and anything on the hop.
Yeah. Yes, as the guys have learnt, from their previous things, when someone knows where you are, they very good at sending you messages, and you get unwanted visitors.
Yeah, we kind of organised to meet up somewhere that isn't where we're sleeping.
Yep. There is the club Hilton, which is actually, as you said, some distance away. You used last night to meet. Or there are other hotels there. There's even other places there. Let me have a look. There's loads of places you can meet in Chicago, in San Francisco.
Renata, there's a yacht club by the water. We could meet there.
Not in this dress.
Oh, fair.
There is. Oh, what else is there? There's a whole load of places you can meet.
I was also going to suggest a sports bar, but again, not in that dress.
No. The problem is you are all very well dressed, so sport bars are out of it.
I mean, why are sports bars out of it exactly?
The way they're dressed.
I think it's more Renata's preference than anything.
I mean, what are they going to do? Mug us?
Yeah, that's fine.
You can get very. You can get very. Things that there's loads of bars. There's even an Irish pub somewhere if you really wanted to go to an Irish pub. For real. Oh yeah. Was it?
Maybe another evening.
Yeah. Oh wait a minute, that's Berlin when you had fun with Irish pubs. Wait a minute, let me have a look. What are you doing? Yeah, you'll find you'll find any bar will do. Is it in Central? You can get your servant to scout one out, and she'll suggest one, and you can meet there beforehand. As you leave the hotel, was it Renata? Do you make it? Do you go? How public do you make it? You can't. You're going to be public anyway, aren't you? Whatever you do.
It doesn't matter what I do.
Same with Dante.
Guys, I will send you what Renata is wearing. It's not.
Yeah. It's the cross, and then find where you put it. Yeah. Right. You choose a bar. I can find the map. We'll say you choose a bar, either within one of the hotels, fancy bars there. You meet in a hotel. Yeah, I think Dante and Renata will be overdressed. For you look as if you're going out somewhere fancy. Is Philip in a nice suit?
I mean, well, his suits are always expensive on some levels, so it's more of the same, but it's still obviously a nice suit.
Nice one. Nice. Was it a handmade suit with shirt? Yes. Yeah, you probably look the least overdressed of all of them, and I think William's got socks on.
Yeah, something like that.
And I think he's even bothered to suit, but most of the time, I remember rightly with William, he goes behind the mask anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, he could be vaguely smart. So, you know, smart casual. Let's say office attire, shirt and trousers. But yeah, he will mask up so that he is well dressed, in a lining of suit matching the pattern of the socks that he's wearing, etc., etc.
Yep, you've got 3 people near enough in green. All high fashion. For of course, was it you don't know what Renata actually does. Yep, and then meanwhile Felix, it sounds a bit bad, you can sort of, you pot around for the start of the evening. Do you actually do any hunting, anything before you go to the party? Or do you just...
No, not hunting, but I will be trying to spot anyone. I'll be doubling back and just having a little bit, being a bit cautious.
Being doubly cautious, it's actually a good move. Yeah, that'll be fine, so that goes without saying. The other guys couldn't even bother doing that. They're going to stick out like a sore thumb at the moment.
I was just wondering whether to actually say that I'd come in a frogman's outfit, because I thought it was fancy dress, but I actually didn't.
Yeah,
although that could have been quite interesting.
Yeah, that would have been the Marchese, just to watch him. Was it a Turner funny? Yeah.
David Green, by any chance?
Oh dear, that's it. Fashion victims are out and about.
It's all right. I come in a proper evening suit.
Rather than winning in his birthday suit, you mean?
Well, that could have been. I'd have to have been a Malkavian, I think, for that one.
Yeah, fair.
You could just get away with it as a Malkavian. Yep. So you guys meet at the bar. It's up to you what you want to discuss before you go to. Is it the party? You've got about an hour or so before you go. And this is the point I get.
I mean, is Renata aware that there's any form of aim to this party, or how it's supposed to go with what we're supposed to do?
No. It's all you have is all you know is that the Marchese's organising it, and it's a meet and greet, and that's it.
It's speed networking for vampires.
Speed network, excellent.
Speed dating for vampires. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, and
Is it going to be timed? Is there going to be a little bell every 3 minutes and we move on?
Don't give the Marchese ideas. Yes, you have no idea who's actually going to be there. Other than that, the Marchese, his servants, and one of the important Hecatars there. You might actually meet the rest of the Hecatar, which will be fascinating.
I think it we're potentially not expecting Prince to turn up, but this is a Hecata plus.
You don't know.
Oh, that could be interesting.
You don't know if the Prince is already there or not. You're walking into, was it, an unknown quantity as far as the Prince is concerned. Oh, blimey, there are going to be... Yep, so as long as you're not going to do anything before that, you're not going to discuss anything are you going to discuss anything before you go to the party? Or are you just going to go straight? Can we just go straight to you going and finding the place?
I'll just go straight there. Once I've done my little set of deliberations.
Yeah, you're going straight at 11, so you'll be one of the first to arrive. As the rest of you guys, are you going to have a discussion before that, or are you just going to go straight to it, considering you've all met?
Yeah, I personally don't think we've got much to discuss, really, considering we don't know the context of the party besides the Marchese's putting on a big do.
He is. Well, right, now comes the fun bit. This is where I start to lose where I am. Okay. Now, it's at the place called the something art. What is it?
It is
Palace
Fine
Fine Arts, which is actually, if you look at the map, is north of the city. It's basically it's an open air. If you look at the pictures, it's sort of an open air. Was it sort of column? Was it like a mortise? So it has a roof, columns, no sides to it.
It's a gazebo.
Yeah, glorified gazebo. Yes, a little bigger. There's gardens around it. It is a public space, but you assume they've actually closed. It can be closed for dues if dues. Well, say it again.
Where did you say the party was?
The Palace of Fine Arts. It is a real thing in north of San Francisco. Are you? It is. It's well, considering the Prince uses the city hall, Marchese is using the next best thing. If he's being a real, he would be using the city hall, but I don't think he can quite get away with that. Right. So, as we go on, Felix will be probably the first to arrive. As you get to the place, there is a car park nearby. Are you driving, Felix, or are you?
I will have been doing a bit of walking and shuffling and quick
got
sit
it.
here or there, and
Yeah.
yes, I won't be in a car.
No. Yeah, you arrive at the place, and it does seem as if they are. Was it security? Was it seem to be present? Certainly in the where you think the entrance is, there are some of the Putanescas there. It seems to be not a big affair, if you know what I mean, so there's not lines of people going in as such. It seems fairly quiet, if anything. And do you go through the front, as in to the guy that sort of looks as if he's the one that takes the invitations, or do you go around the side and sneak in?
Absolutely not sneaking in.
Yeah, I think I'll go through the front door.
Yeah.
With my invite.
Yep. Yeah, the one of the familiar bodyguards takes it, looks at it, sort of nods, hands it you back, and sort of motions that you go in. And
Thank
he goes
you.
back here looking hard.
I'll look harder.
That's what Putanescas do. Yeah, you walk in. There isn't too many people there. There are, was it probably at the moment about 3 or 4, of which most you don't recognise. Let's see.
I could guarantee that. I probably only know the small group that we're with. There's probably, because I didn't go to the Prince thing, so I wouldn't have seen anyone there.
And you kept your head low down. Yeah, there's probably about probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people there at the moment. Most was it actually 6 people. Most who seen was it one in a suit, some who you think look like businessmen from their dress and the cut of their suits. You think they're playing the part of, was it businesswomen and men, rather than actually being there. An elderly gentleman, was it very European looking, as in he wouldn't look out of place, was it looking like a lawyer from the mafiosi, that sort of look, down to the big thick glass lenses, as in
Right.
yeah. And a woman with very short hair, with much like Vanata in, was it very fancy dress, who seems to be, was it keeping a weather eye on everybody that's involved. She seems to be, how do you describe it, like a cat watching everything that's going on around her, is the best way of describing her.
Okay.
And there is the Marchese, flanked by, was it his servants, which include, was it Pier and was it De Luca.
Well, as I go in, then I will pay my respects first, even if that's just a brief nod. But I'll go up to him,
yes,
just to say hello.
Right, bear with me here. That's it. Then the Marchese. I'm glad you have come to the meet and greet.
Oh, I wouldn't have missed this for anything.
He laughs. I would use it as an opportunity to get to know some of the other vampires of the city. I warn you, there are a number of very important vampires here tonight, though not the prince himself. So at least be at your best behaviour.
Sure.
Other than that, be free to mingle. Oh, and it hasn't. Go on.
Are most friends, or have we got some rivals as well?
Most are friends.
Good. Okay.
As far as I know now. Oh, the place hasn't been marked. The place isn't Elysium, but I would appreciate if you wouldn't break the Masquerade here.
Oh, good grief. Dream of it. No, that's fine.
Yep. And after a while, others start appearing as you're sitting there. There's refreshments laid on. The way it's set up is is real food. So anybody just walking in, this would look like a soiree, as in mortal, as in people would every few while look as if they're picking at the food, as if they've got wine in hand, considering what they've got in hand isn't wine, sort of thing. As far as you can tell, there is mortal food there, so if someone was to walk in mortal, it doesn't look what it is as a group of vampires having a meeting. After you're there, a gentleman appears who best described as a dandy, wears a very floppish clothes, that of an artist. How literate is your character? How well read?
Oh, I would say, well, it depends what subject. If you're talking religious philosophy and theology, very well.
Anything else?
But I am quite well educated, so I could probably have a stab at all sorts of things, including
Yeah, it was just... There's something about him that's familiar, but you cannot, put your finger on what? By the way he dresses and by watching him in his mannerisms. It seems to
be
be...
honest, I'll pick him and I'll go across and I'll say, don't I know you from somewhere?
Right, let me find this. And in a very English accent. Probably not, I have never seen you before.
You're vaguely familiar, and that might not mean anything, but just wondered. I'm Felix, by the way.
I am... And now I've lost my notes. Sebastian. And he sort of hands his hand out and sort of shakes it very limply, as in it's not the thing. Was it, how you say, sort of living as in the city? I haven't seen you before.
Oh, I've been around for a while.
Ah.
So you might actually know me differently, but I'll let you work that one out. I am known around.
He looks very, was it mystified? Yeah, you do not seem to be from my own circle of friends. You don't look like an artist to me, or a writer.
No, I'm not. I dabble in all sorts of things, but mainly gymnasiums, fighting styles, things like boxing rings, that sort of thing.
Oh no, never been, was it, a fan of such thing as pugilism and stuff like that. Very, how you say, ooh, no. Far more peaceful and artistic, was it, pursuits of mine, was it?
It's not really about that. Fighting's, in a sense, the sort of the final product. It's about dealing with physique, dealing with mental attitude. It's that type of aspect of things.
Oh, I see. A little more than just the fighting, and he sort of smiles. That sort of.
Oh, there's a philosophy involved in it as well.
He sort of eyes you up and down. You may have hidden depths.
Oh, don't write me off, I'll tell you that now.
We'll have to talk, he says, was it later. How much do you know of the Marchese?
Not much, actually. Just met her a few weeks ago. Yes, this is sort of like a little bit of a soiree to get me
to meet and greet.
Seeing who's who. And yes, basically, I'm basically probably the target of that type of thing. So I picked up an invite and decided
here you are.
I wouldn't waste it. Yes.
And he sort of looks. Now there we have some interesting people. As in, the two gentlemen walk in. We'll get down to you guys in a minute. Where were we? Two gentlemen walk in. One is dressed in what would be best described as 18th century, was it, gentleman's dress. The other one is dressed in what you would think was 18th century, but it cut seems a little bit more modern. They are down to the full, was it, the full wigs, they're down to the how you say, the wigs, the face being whitened, down to the staff, even to the mannerisms of what you would either say French or English gentleman. And the one, it seems very dominant of the other one, who seems to be, if you watch him, one seems to say as if he tells him off for as if he does behaviour, especially when they talk to the Marchese, of which they do a very formal bow to each other, as if it's more reminiscent of when it depends how good your history is, as if two nobles met, is down that sort of thing, except that sort of thing. After which the rest of the guys, of which Renata is dressed in green, so is Dante. Philip is in a full suit. Right, I'll leave you there talking to Sebastian. I'll go to the other guys. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, guys, you arrive slightly after Felix. As you arrive, do you drive there, guys?
I'd imagine we've booked a limo, to be honest.
Yeah. That's fine. You arrive in the limo, was the guy that lets you out. He puts you in front of there. You can see the obvious place where you're going in, and two gentlemen, as I described, are sort of handing over their invitations to one of the Puttanescas, and they seem to have that almost look down at this, as if he's not worth the as if he was dog poo they found on the bottom of their shoe, sort of thing, which doesn't turn the hair of the Puttanesca, who just looks at them impassionately and thinking, yeah, if you think you're hard enough, sort of gives their invitation back, and in they go. That's what the Puttanescas get paid to do. Good grief. It's better than when they get annoyed. And do you make your way to the Puttanesca and hand over your invitations?
Maybe if we give it a minute or two for the people to go through. And,
Yeah.
Talk to Marco things.
Yeah. You assume that Uncle Marco will already be there.
Well, yeah, I imagine he's the type of person who's not going to be late to his own party. Unless, you know, he wants to make an entrance, that's always a possibility.
No.
I assume he's there already.
Yeah. Right, you wander off to the Puttanesca. He seems to be a little bit more, notices who you are and relaxes. And he sort of motions to you to go in.
Thank you.
That's alright, madam.
How many have we got?
There are about 5 and 6, madam, so far. More to come.
How many in total? Roughly?
10 plus.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And he goes back to looking hard. Yeah, you walk in. As you walk in, you look around the room. You see as I described, the people in the suits that look out of place. E.g., they're not fashionable. As you walk in, yeah. Philip will recognise one of the gentlemen as someone he's already met. A gentleman who has floppy hair, a suit. There's one guy that looks like he's best described, he's from a mafiosi, as in Italian suit, thick rimmed glasses. Wouldn't look out of place, or was it you're supposed to blow the doors off, sort of thing. The woman in a dress which almost rivals Renata's, who is short hair, who is sort of looking around the room as if she's like a cat that's looking over, was it mice or something like that? That's the best way of doing it. She's watching and paying attention to everything that's going on. There are a group of people who are dressed in suits, but they seem out of it. They're not as they would be. They're not like yours, well tailored. They seem to be off the peg, sort of thing. And you see Felix talking to a gentleman who is dressed probably as a dandy, as in more 20th century dandy, of which there's something familiar about him, but you cannot put your finger on what. I've lost a page. How do they do that? I know why. And that's all that's there at the moment. And the two gentlemen that just walked in, as in they're just talking to Uncle Marco. Who was it? So they're doing the part of you'd probably recognise as 19th century. Was it? That's the word. Courtiers, either French or English. The one gentleman's dress is very authentic, as in it looks the part, and it is. There's the other gentleman's is. It looks the part, but it looks like. Well, certainly Renata is. It looks like it's it's more modern. Certainly in the way it's cut, it's a more modern cut, and it's more modern. As in the one in the more genuine dress. And it seems as at the point, the Marchese and himself, they do a formal bow to each other. Anybody's a history, this is as nobles would greet each other, sort of thing, as in doing this, and they wander off into the party, generally looking at everybody else.
Given Renata's knowledge of history of fashion type stuff, would she be able to hazard a guess as to whether it's French court or English court, and if
French.
you can get any idea of roughly how far up the pecking order he is based on his wearing?
If it was French, and that the one gentleman's is very high, as in it would be the king's, as in that's the tailoring. The other one is what it is, it's a replica. So yeah, it's not the real McCoy, if you know what I mean. And do you go up to the Marchese and was it Dominic and all those lot?
Yeah, it would be exceptionally rude if we didn't.
No. He spies you. Good evening, child. And William. I am glad you arrived. I wanted a word before things really start. I would like to remind you to put on a good face tonight, as we have some important guests, including you and Dunson, of which he points toward a sort of gestures towards the gentleman in the suit, with the floppish sort of hair, basically, who is a member of the 1044, a very important person within the Hecate clan. I would also like you to put on a face of unity, as I see you have done. Very fitting, Renata. I have suspicion you were responsible. And he smiles. I would also feel free to talk and mingle with the people tonight, as you may find some very useful people here. I will introduce to the more important of them tonight as we go along. So go and enjoy yourselves, Childer and that. And and Philip.
Very well.
That's no fun.
Are we going to split off?
As you do,
Twitter.
as you do there are others coming in. So sort of, they all seem to come en masse. There's another gentleman that looks like a businessman that comes in.
Does the Marquesi indicate what sort of
He doesn't, he just gestures for you to, as in arms wide to, go out there. And another business gentleman, two business gentlemen walked in conversation. Ooh, that's interesting. Oh, that's the one. Yes. Yeah. Was it basically people wondering? Was it various suited people and that? There is only one guy that sort of really stands out among them. Is one that walks in a cloak with a mask, as in one that's very very Venetian. As in, if you've seen the mask that they wear of the mask balls, he's wearing a mask.
I have one of those on my wall.
It is much like that. It is white. It has eye holes. It isn't wooden with slits for the eyes or the mouth. It does not that sort of mask. No inspector, no prince. So you're all fairly fine. Yeah, some of them one looks like a nice, a large gentleman who looks at who's basically looks like a businessman. Mixture of accents too, if you listen around the room, from full French to American to there's English there to what you would surmise was San Francisco, especially from the three in their sort of little ill at ease in their suits and in the whole situation. UN sort of wanders around talking to people. Right, so are you going to mingle around the party, or are you going to stay as a group, or are you going to say hello to Felix, who's talking to this gentleman, who's basically sort of leaning forward and asking, Felix, do you know any of the people that have just walked in? I have seen some of them, two dandies, but the others I haven't seen before.
I've met his children.
Our illustrious host, the Marquesi. It's an interesting fellow. A very handsome fellow at that too. Certainly
Which
was.
one?
The Marquesi.
Okay.
He sort of points towards the host. The Marquesi, Marquesi? Oh, Leonardo. I believe he is a Hecate, very important within the clan.
Well, I believe that's what it says on the invite. So, yep.
So I'm going to sort of wander around and mingle, as there seems to be a lot more interesting people around here. A lot more suits. Always tend to be boring. Now that is interesting. Two people walk in after you guys are running around, both dressed in what we best describe as in as in industrial, including basically long, short spiked hair. The guy's got short spiked hair, black clothes, as in including jacket, shirt. The same, she's in the black dress, long hair which is dyed. No, not down to the dreadlocks, who seem to sort of, say hello to the Marquesi, who seems to sort of welcome them, and they sort of skulk around, they sort of go and talk to the Dante for a few while. If you notice, one of the suited gentlemen, a large gentleman, balding and that, goes and talks to that group. They tend to sort of, from way their body language is acting, they tend to know each other, as in they form a group. Of which, if you watch for a short while, the real dandy seems to be, was it the main voice of the whole group. Right. So the party goes on, and as you wander around, is if you're talking, you can do that. If you go around, if you don't specifically go around, is it anybody you want to specifically talk to among the groups, other than Sebastian, who's Felix has talked to? Or are you going to talk to anybody else as such? Ooh.
I mean, I feel that maybe we should maybe split off into lots of different groups.
I think we should do it in twos.
In twos,
Yeah.
and in packs. And
Well,
Felix,
not quite. It's just the fact that you get a chance if you're talking with as I don't mean this in the straight sense of being a couple, but if you're actually two, you can compare notes afterwards as to what was said, who said what, how, and we've got a chance then of maybe discerning a little bit more than trying to do it on our own. So if we went off in twos, then we've got a chance. You know, even in smaller groups, other groups, we've got a chance of actually maybe just finding things out.
Yep. Okay, so who's going with whom? Is William and who else is going together?
Well, the other thing I would suggest is Dante and Renata split up.
Yeah, I'll take William.
I was actually going to suggest we are a 5. I was going to suggest that I go alone. I might skulk a bit, you know.
Well, something else. One of the latecomers, an elder lady, actually seems to be very good at skulking. She seems to be much like the lady in a very fancy dress. Seems to be on the outside watching, as this woman is still, as in the one in the dress, is still doing exactly the same. She is watching what's going on, and again has separated herself, and this same person is doing a very similar thing, but it isn't doing much the same, as in she's not looking as if you're potentially meat, basically, is the feeling you get.
Who was the one skulking, sorry, Andy?
One of the later ones that came in.
Okay.
She looks like a middle-aged woman in a, was it fairly indistinct dress, as in doesn't stand out quite deliberately. Yeah. So you wander around, and does Philip go and who's Philip with? Philip's with Renata?
Yeah.
Right,
Sure.
so Philip and Renata, Dante, and Dante's by himself, so Dante will be with Felix, if that's any disagreement with that.
No, I'm happy with that.
No,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah. Right, so does Philip go and does it are you going to, was it say hello to a certain person, or are you not going to bother?
I might swing around back to that
at a later stage,
but not
that's what I want to know.
immediately.
Is there anyone particular out of the people who have arrived that you have an interest in?
Let's have a look with these. I'll go describe those lights. Right.
Well, I suppose my main question is anyone at the party other than the Marchese relevant for the finance industry at all?
There are some gentlemen which look, you would think were Ventry, for sure. Well, Philip looks like Ventry. Ewan always looks like what Ewan is.
I mean, else?
Yes, there is at least one, was it blonde-haired gentleman that certainly looks like that. The actual, was it the one that looks like the gangster, doesn't look as if he is really business. He looks more like a number cruncher more than anything else. As in
I'll probably try to find for local venture, frankly.
Yep. Who's that?
Yeah.
One gentleman is actually a very good-looking guy in his 40s in a suit. There's another gentleman who is in a suit, balding with glasses. Looks very jolly. One woman there. Yes. Is anybody using has all specs and using seeing unseen at the point? If you're not, you won't know. Yep. So there are at least a number of gentlemen which look like the part. They are, certainly businessmen. Down to the point they look, look to the point you think they would be bankers.
I was gonna go talk to them and see if I can do some networking.
So you just choose the first person in a suit to go and talk to?
Yeah, I choose the first blatantly venture person I see to talk to.
I will come with
So,
Dante, how about cornering the Catwoman?
yeah. Renata and
Good.
Philip. Actually, as you don't know what Ventru looks like, it's a matter of guessing which Ventru. You're not going.
Eventually, they all wear suits and have the same haircuts.
Yes. Let's go. Yep, I know who you're going to. These are always fun scenes to do, so bear with me while I was it her and Felix and Dante. Oh, I wish I could make this so much easier. Write this all down. Who are you? What's her name? Right. Okay, you choose the first gentleman, which looks business-like. He's wearing a nice business suit. Well, clean shaven. Was it the blonde hair? And he sort of as you walk, as Philip and Renata walk up, he sort of nods at you, and he says, "Good evening."
Evening. Are you new to the city, or?
Indeed, I am. Let me introduce myself. I am Gabriel Morno.
Sorry, how do you spell Morno?
More with a no. Moieno. Morno. He speaks with a very clear, you would think, a New York accent. And to whom he sort of holds his hand out to, as if to accept, Renata's hand?
Yeah, that's fine.
He sort of sits there, bends down, kisses, and to whom do I have the pleasure? He's sort of talking at, Renata?
My name is Renata. I'm the niece of the Marquesi.
Ah, our illustrious host. And you, sir? And he turns.
Philip Dunson. I'm a colleague of Renata's.
Ah, nice to meet you. So you both know, was it the Marchese? Aha.
Yes.
And as you said, does it like yourselves? You in the city?
Are you here for business?
He smiles. Of course, as always. As it sort of comes with the territory, comes with the clan.
One of my uncle's banking friends.
I have not had the pleasure of until tonight in meeting the Marchese. I hadn't realised he was into banking. Does he have a bank in San Francisco? Because no.
Renata plays it thick, so if you go, I'm not entirely sure. I don't really keep track of his business, to be honest. It's not a thing.
So he is not in business, and he points to the group of, was it the people with the, the looking uncomfortable. So he is not to do with the Giovanni over there, as in the incumbent.
If I look at the group, is there anyone I can recognise?
No, this is a group you haven't met before, but you now know they're the Giovanni. So you are nothing to do with them.
Well, I can't say I recognise any of them.
So you are new to the city like myself.
Oh indeed, we've only been here a couple of days.
And yourself, was it Mr. Dunson?
Been here a few months. I can't say that I'm afraid the Marchese is here on a fact-finding mission. If he has any interests in our banking industry, you'll have to speak to him directly.
Aha! Well, it's always interesting to know who's into what. And was it I assume that from your demeanour that you are Hector? Or Ventru, in your case, was it Mr. Dunson?
That's a common question. I am a member of the Dunson family.
You have one up on me. As a clan, I've never heard of the Dunson. But hey, in this, was it modern times? Who knows? And your interest, as he said, is in the banking?
Yes. Sorry, I failed to ask. You are, Peter Carter as well, or?
Oh no. And he sort of sits there and thinks and sort of studies you. I am a member of... He sort of sits there. Tasumi. I can never pronounce that.
Could you type that into chat, or?
I can never pronounce this one correctly. Because it's the way it's spelt.
Oh,
Smithy. That's it.
Smish.
Smeesh.
Oh, Smish. Yeah. Whichever.
Yeah. And he sort of
That's an
stands
interesting
there.
point.
He sort of sits there and leans back and sort of watches your reaction.
I mean, they're not a very common clan within the General Camarilla Carter
No.
net, I assume. So, probably just fairly...
Fairly, was it neutral?
Yeah, neutral. Not shocked or horrified or anything.
Just want to type something in Renata's. something I needed to do there. I think Renata might have a slightly different reaction to this. So, it looks. So, you're here. From what I gather is you're here to, was it a cash in? As the city returned back to, was it Camarilla rule?
Well, I'm not sure I would quite say cash in, but I'm here to represent the clan's interests in the city. Out of curiosity, are you within the industry, or?
I am. Originally, was it from New York? I was a broker. How you say, I have come to the city to, as you say, was it to restart again? And
Quick question for the storyteller. If I recall correctly, New York was flipping between Camarilla and Sabbat fairly recently?
Fairly recently, about 10 years ago, it flipped back to Camarilla. And out of character, you know what the clan was.
Yeah,
the clan is the same as the Lazomba, as in certain sect is concerned.
I was more checking to see if he was trying to hint that he was former Spat or something. New York. Actually, have you heard of the? Well, Philip's going to try and turn the conversation to something he's a bit more familiar with.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the recent legislation in regards to the futures purchases?
As always, I have to be abreast of such things. After all, we can't exactly break the law, and how you say, one, I can't, was it bring too much, heat onto myself, if you know what I mean, both from the Camarilla and the Second Inquisition.
Well, we're not anarchs in this case.
No, but my clan at one point would have been regarded. I'm amazed you haven't asked the one question that one most of your clan would have asked. And the answer is no. I was never a member. I was embraced after New York was changed hands.
Well, we all came here for new beginnings, didn't we?
And in a city as it is, it's safe for me to do so. Anywhere else would be dangerous. And talking of such, we should talk a little more, Mr. Dunstan, because we seem to be both in the same, industry. Both have, I suspect, I suspect we are both want to increase our presence in the city.
Well, I'll have to speak to my financial advisor, so to speak.
Of course.
I'll give you my card. Just send me a message if you...
Yeah, he gives you his card.
Is his nicer than mine?
Probably not, no. Actually, it probably...
It's not got a little black hand on it, has it?
No.
No.
No, there is no black hand on it. It would be nice, because that fits what it is. It was nice talking to you, and it was nice, was it, to make your acquaintance, Renata. We may meet again. After all, was it sort of motions up and down talking to such nice, pretty ladies is always a pleasure. And he sort of smiles.
That's a you.
Yeah. Right. We'll finish with you. We'll go over to the other one. As in, was it Dante and Felix going to talk to? Was it the Catwoman? Who seems to watch you approach. She watches as you approach her. You almost seem with disinterest. With disinterest, as in she's not reacting. She's not looking as if...
She's not looking for an exit.
No. She seems very assured and watches you. And sort of says nothing as you walk up to her. And she just looks at you.
In perfect French, I say, "Good evening, how are you?"
Of which she looks very looks a little blankly, and then in a heavy German accent says, "Do you understand German?"
I don't.
Basically, sprechen Sie Deutsch?
I shall swap to English.
A language we can both understand. And she looks.
Yeah.
So, what do you
So
want?
Who do I have the pleasure of having a conversation with?
Miss Waldenstein. And she sort of puts her hand out as if to shake. As if it's the thing to do. And your friend?
Dante.
Oh.
I am the childer of the Masquerade.
And you? She points back. I am sorry, I didn't ask your name.
Oh, Felix.
You seem familiar.
Maybe.
From somewhere. I cannot put my finger on where. Do you do anything? Was it?
Yeah.
Anything
Probably
interesting?
a little bit known for doing a little bit of boxing in my time.
A little, was it fighting? That may be from where I was it seen you. She sort of walks round and looks. You have a physique of a fighter. Though your friend Dante, she sort of walks around him, seems to be a bit, yes, more from an easy living.
I'm a doctor by trade.
Oh, how interesting. You take people apart to save their lives. You don't take them apart to see how they work. And she sort of half smiles. And you, yes, and I do know who you are, Dante. The Marchese sort of told me who you were. And yes, I do know the Marchese. And no, you don't need to know why. So we have a fighter. How good a fighter are you, was it, Felix?
Oh, I can hold my own. It's not something I particularly want to boast about. I'm more into the understanding of the discipline of it, the philosophy of it, and the understanding of how it can sort of help your health and well-being, mental and otherwise.
She sort of
The
was
fighting bit's just an end point.
interesting. Myself, was it all I was interested in? How you say, how much fear it could degenerate. But hey, that's what I used to do.
Used to. What do you do now?
Things changed. The world's changed. We are, how you say, the world's changed from underneath me. And you don't need to know what I do now. Do you, Felix?
I wouldn't have asked if I didn't. But if you don't want to tell me, that's fine.
You're learning. You might be interesting, especially being a fighter. Difficult to scare.
Well, definitely not just a fighter, I'll tell you that now.
Though Dante and the other matter may be something different. But he's safe. Because I
We're
would
all
get...
different.
I couldn't terrorise Dante. Others here I could.
I'll cave in.
Worse. Dante might know who and what my plan is. I am Hecator, but not embrace the Hecator.
What they called? Not the Brotherhood of Skulls.
No.
What's the one that I'm thinking of? Can't remember.
Nagaria. He says Nagaria. Those who followed a darker path, and even the Hecator and the Giovanni.
So what are you, a spirit hunter? Like an occultist?
No. I get rid of people when needed. I clean messes up when I'm needed. I terrorise people when it's needed. Of course for a price, and the highest bidder. That goes without saying, doesn't it?
Highest bidder? How are you going to bid for? You make it sound like a competition.
It always is. Basically, pay me enough, I work for you.
That's probably just about everybody at some level.
Well, was it what you need of my services already, Felix? From what I gather, you haven't been here long.
Oh, I've been longer than I believe most people know.
How can I'm not surprised? And what do you think of the gathering so far?
Oh, it's very interesting. Lots of people doing lots of guarded things, but giving loads away in the process. There you go.
So what do I do, Felix?
Well, I haven't worked that one out yet, other than probably the worst definition for pro again is you're a cleaner. And I didn't mean that as an insult.
None taken. Except the way I clean up bodies is interesting.
Intriguing.
Indeed. Now, can I, was it to get back to my, how you say, observations? If you don't mind.
I don't mind at all.
Goodbye, Felix. Goodbye,
Cheerio.
Dante.
I'll bow my head.
I won't.
She doesn't. Right, yep, and yeah, she gets back to, she sort of moves to a point where you can watch, and she does look in your direction every few while from now on. In the meanwhile,
Yeah. I
what
might give her something to be really fearful for in the future. But
in the meanwhile, what does Tom do?
So William, I was thinking William could initially just go on the prowl and look out for and try and earwag onto any groups that seem to be slightly more, trying to be a bit more secluded than, the general groups, just to make sure nothing untoward is happening or being discussed.
Probably as you go past the groups, certainly with the people, the two ladies and the gentleman, which the one I described as looking a little ill-fitting in their suits. They seem to be in deep conversation about the Marchese, of which, from the little you gather, is they're a little worried about the Marchese's presence. Certainly worried about the Ewan's presence, as in these two are fairly high up within the Camarilla. As you pass the group with the dandy and the others, they seem to be more. They should be discussing, what to do next, who to talk to, who looks interesting. Certainly sort of talking about the Marchese, and we would have thinked, and Renata, as in the lady in the green dress. Certainly one of the gentlemen with, not the one in the what you gentleman, but the other one seems to be very interested. He seemed to figure out that the dress and certainly the suit to Dante are one-offs, e.g. they've been tailored. So he has a fair idea of tailoring in itself. So he's very, like Renata is, he's very knowledgeable about the other things. There's the gentleman, which is a very large gentleman balding, that seems to be talking about the various people in suits, and you would think he's talking about, at some point, Felix not so much, but about, the one with Renata, also saying the fact who's potentially a mark, as in someone, not a mark as in someone who would potentially invest in in an art gallery, in their art gallery. They seem to talk a lot about this, an art gallery and you seem to gather from their conversation they're into art basically in various forms. At some point they talk about Genric and I forgot what the other name is, who seem to be the two goths who seem to be sort of separate. Genric and Sabine, who say, are they actually going to join us tonight, or are they just going to do their usual and sulk in the corner and look stuff like that? Right. The other gentlemen seem to be sort of wandering around. They seem to be just small talk. Two are sort of talking to each other. As in the one that looks like the gentleman in the suit with the glasses that look like a mafiosi thing, and one of the other a gentleman in the suit, are sort of talking to each other, and they're being joined by the one you were being talked to was talking to Renata and Philip earlier on, and they seem to be talking business of what they're doing in the city. The gentleman that looks like the mafiosi thing, but the glasses seems to be not overly interested in what they're talking about. It's most of what they talk about goes over the head. He speaks with a very heavy Italian accent. One speaks with him with a accent you would think was New York, and there's a third gentleman which speaks with a English accent.
Okay.
And there again is the gentleman that's running around with, and it is a full, if you get fairly close, a full mask who's talking to another gentleman who seems to be very good looking. They seem to be talking about strangely ghosts and the occult and that sort of thing. You would gather that their conversation tends to be a bit more that sort of pitched at that point. And you are joined by someone at your shoulder.
Oh.
The elder lady in the dress.
Who was also doing the Skull King.
Yes.
I figured as much. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm guessing you wanted to be me to be aware of your presence.
Indeed. Like myself, you hide behind a mask. And unlike the gentleman in front, it is not one that can be seen. Would you like to step away for a little bit?
Yes, this kind of thing isn't really my preferred type of, event, to be honest.
No, but always interesting to watch.
Indeed.
Especially when, as yourself, you wander around and listen.
Yeah, I find we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
And many faces for the other. My name is Malakaweska, and it is and it means jackdaw in Polish.
Yeah.
And the L actually has a cross through it, but I can't find a special character for that.
Sure. Polish name?
It's Polish.
Okay.
And like you, I am a colloquially known a sewer rat.
What, sorry?
A sewer rat. The
The
more unenlightened.
Yes, I suspected. Is there a group in the city? I've been here a few days, I've not actually met
There is currently only myself actually in the city. There are others, but they are mostly to the south, in the South Bay region. Was it Stanford University?
Oh. I guess it's as good as any place to hide. Students bumbling around at 2 AM, half off their face. So.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
And was it with their fingers in much as the Camarilla wouldn't like technology.
Yes, indeed.
Always a sore point.
Yes. Are you, or are the others using the campus network to kind of, set up our own little individual private?
I believe so. It's glad to see there is at least one other of us here.
Yes, sorry, I have you at an advantage. My name is William. As I say, I've been here for only a few days, so I am without fixed address.
Aha. At some point,
yes.
We should talk, being of the same. And she sort of flicks the thing down and reveals hauntingly. She's Nosferatu in so much she's bald, skin is sort of blue, but rather than looking ugly, there's that sort of haunting beauty to her. As in, it's she still couldn't was it get on well with with that. You hear from not nearby, from some dandies, you hear some "Ugh!" And the guys are watching. It depends if you're watching William or not. If you're not, halfway through the conversation, you hear someone, from one of the groups, certainly where the dandy are. You hear someone sort of make a remark. Yuck! One of those sort of remark. And she puts it up and she sort of smiles. Yes.
It's always good to watch them squirm.
It's got to be a Toreador, I believe. Toreador, I believe it's a Toreador. Goes by the name LeComte, and his sidekick Peter. Sort of like myself, fairly new. Have their own little, group of artists. And money, and a pet venture who sort of gets the money for them.
I mean, to be fair, they are good at that.
Of course. Right, at this point, guys, as you were talking and you guys are finishing and running around, you see that the Marchese is talking to the group of two ladies and the gentleman. At the moment, everybody's sort of looking at this, including Ewan, because it's done at a fairly high point. Those of you who speak Italian will get a lot of gist what's going on. There seems to be for those who don't, it seems to be a almost standing argument between these two guys. It isn't getting to blows, but it is very forceful. Those who speak Italian will figure out that the one, I think she's called Seven, seems to be very put out by the Marchese. She seems to have it in her head that the Marchese is there and his children are there to sort of, muscle in at the Giovanni, of which the Marchese points out that no, he isn't. He has no interest in the city. He sort of then implies, should he worry about the Ikato of the city, considering Servan Lazar's attitude? He'll basically say, are there things going alright in the city? Basically questioning questioning her, saying, is everything alright? Are you sure? Sort of thing. Of which she looks a little taken aback at this comment, and at some point regains control and says yes, of which Marchese answers back, and he says this in English, I am very glad you do, Miss Lanza. I would hate to have to replace you, as I gather the prince does like your presence here. Oh, Miss Lanza, in future when dealing with me and my child, I would warn you, I do have the ear of the ruling council in Venice, so my advice is to be a bit more civil in the future. Do I make myself very clear, Miss Lanza? At which point both the Marchese and Miss Lanza literally lock stares. Renato will have seen this before with a certain player character who was stupid enough to question him. Yeah. At which point, yeah, go on.
Renata will stands just behind her uncle's right shoulder.
It's actually enough for him to right. Yep. Okay, yeah, was it? Okay, yeah, that's enough to sort of break it. When he sort of breaks it and he sort of looks at it and sort of nods, and the group sort of, where you now know Sabina alone, sort of walk off into the corner. Mackenzie looks around. You've got Philip with you, haven't you?
Oh, I was staying away from the
It's up
yeah.
to
not
him
chasing
if
it,
he follows me or not. Renato was just going to go because that looks like it picked up.
Yeah, he sort of walks past you towards Philip, sort of as it sort of motions for Philip to follow him. This one I will have to do in private chat. This I don't want in public. He will basically guide you out of the pavilion into the outside of earshot of what's going on. Yep. Okay, so I'll take you down to the private chat and I'll have a quick word with you there. See you later, guys.
See you shortly.
Oh, damn it.
Good luck.
Right. Basically, Marchese sort of drags you out. Not drags you out, he guides you out. He looks visibly annoyed, if you know what I mean. His fangs are out at the moment. And he sort of, as it sits there, closes his eyes and the fangs go back in. Go on.
I'm gonna wait there quietly until he begins conversation, basically.
I think you have gathered I dislike Miss Sabina. Miss Lanza. But at the moment I cannot really get rid of her without causing some unwanted conflict within the clan. So I will certainly support your entry into the financial domain in the city by giving you the resources, all resources you need to do it. I want you to take down Miss Lanza and her fellow Giovanni, as it's time they were taught that the new clan does not centre around them anymore. I will leave it up to you how you do what you want to bring them down, with one proviso: you do not blacken the name of the Hecata, or you will lose my support. And he sort of leans close and says quietly, of course this conversation did not happen, and I will deny it ever happened. I hope you understand.
Understood.
Good. Let's go back.
So a quick question for the storyteller. It was Miss Lanza. How do you spell that?
We have let's put this into your chat so these guys don't get what's going on. There will be pictures up of these people in there. That's it, and it's. If I can find these guys, I can get their proper names. She seems to be the head of the group. So from what you now gather, those are the Giovanni Hecata of the Giovanni clan. So
yeah, they're the mobsters pretending to be bankers.
Yeah,
right?
You now have seen them, and where is it? her actual name is Lanza. Okay, and he will gently, a little bit more gently, he will guide you back into the thing. But how he'll do it is, you basically, he'll probably suggest that you join in two different places, basically, as in you don't walk back together, sort of thing.
Sure, I suppose I'll just wait a few minutes and then enter through a slightly different entrance.
Yeah, but he goes back. He seems to be a lot calmer when he leaves. Okay, I'll go and put you back into the main chat. Ooh. Yep, right, we're back. After a while, Mackenzie comes back, and sometime after that, Philip comes back. Everybody seems to be far more concerned about what has just happened. As far as Mackenzie seems to go over to you, and there seems to be a chat between the two of them, of which there seems to be a nod and an agreement between the pair of them. Was it a bow from, the Marchese to Ewan? It seems if you're watching that the Marchese has just apologised to Ewan what has just happened. And it seems as if the Marchese has got away with whatever he's just got away with.
What's that woman doing, Miss Lanza?
Her companions are now walked away and are looking very sheepish at the moment. They're not going because you gather it would be a little rude to storm out and a little dangerous. They are sort of sitting apart from the rest, who are now sort of all, they're all more concerned and more talking about what has just happened, as in the Marchese and that was a very tense sort of scene, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Yep. Ooh.
Can Renata try and catch Dante's eye?
Yep. And Philip.
She'll go across to him and
yeah.
do you think we should try and mend some fences, or do you think we should just let that go?
I think it's not our place. If we're asked, then yes. But the Marchese knows what he's doing.
Yes.
In that case, I'll lift off again and just keep circulating around.
Yep. Your companion's back, William.
Oh.
She sort of says, so what I gather is, was it the Marchese doesn't like the incumbent Hector then? Am I correct?
If you're asking me, I'm still figuring that out for myself, if I'm honest.
It might be well worth a watch, don't you?
Yes, absolutely. So, is it worth it if we get caught? Because I'm guessing the Marchese wants any such discussions, meetings, etc. to be
Quite
private.
quiet. Indeed,
Yeah.
so. Yes, it's interesting times. Though I gather the Marchese isn't staying anyway. his
He
child,
doesn't tend to.
and his child's are.
Again, that seems to be his usual MO.
Yes. If things had been easier in the second, was it Inquisition had not made things so easy, we could have found more a lot quicker. And we could always talk to our friends in the university.
Yeah, it would be good to
Indeed.
make a journey down. Get a feel for what the current situation is, because
We will, how we say, swap cards.
yes, sounds good.
Yes. I'll get back to by watching, because tonight's going to be interesting. Go
Yes,
on.
indeed. Same. I was going to say, William his card will be a scrap of paper with his phone number on it.
Yes, hers will be, much the same.
Yeah.
Because she sort of smiles, always the best cards.
Indeed.
And she sort of drops. Oh, she turns and sort of walks up close to you. That one woman with the hair, she seems scary for some reason.
Yeah, a couple of my friends went to talk to her. I was actually quite interested in talking to her myself. I'll have to wait and see.
Yes, I would.
Exactly.
I would be careful with that one. It's just a feeling I get.
Interesting.
And she sort of wanders off. Right, so we're sort of losing it at the moment. But are you going back to your groups again?
Yes. Well, William will try and reconvene with whoever.
Yeah, and the rest of the guys, are you going back into your groups again?
Yeah, I'll get drinks and things and just
Yeah. And at some point you were actually sort of, found by, Dominic, all of you, and he sort of, says, would you please follow me? The Marchese would like to introduce someone to you. And he sort of finds the lot of you and sort of points to where the Marchese is, who is still talking to Ewan at the moment. Yep, and you all go over.
Yep.
Yep.
Who's all?
As in everybody. As in you all, yeah, all five of you, you all sort of, Dominic finds you and said, would you please go to the Marchese? He needs to introduce someone to you.
Yeah. Sure.
And you go over and one of you already know who this is. He sort of nods at all of you. And the Marchese, turns round, let me introduce Mr. Ewan Dunson, a member of the Anzari. I will spell that for you. Bear with me here. Azani. For those of Hecate will know what that means. It means the council. Member of the Anzari, the ruling council of the Hecate. And Mr. Dunson, these are my child and their companions. I am bringing my child back from the fold after 10 years of being in the wilderness. Let me introduce. This is Renata Pilate.
Pleasure to meet you.
He nods. This is Dante Sforza Wolf.
I'll bow.
What was the gentleman's name, sorry?
Ewan, spelled E-U-A-N, and it's Dunson. D-U-N-S-I-R-N.
What
Yep.
what title would he be addressed by?
if I said Mackenzie, you just said Mister, so that'd be fine. Just call him Mister, or was it Mr. Dunson?
Yeah, I'll bow my head slightly.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mr. Dunstan.
Thank you. This is William McLeod.
William will bow, won't say anything yet.
He nods. This is Felix.
Give him a nod.
So nods. And Robert. And this is Philip. And Ewan will bow.
I'll give a similar bow.
And he sort of Suze gives a half smile. So it is always nice to meet. I gather some of you are of the Hecata, and some of the rest of you are not. You're still welcome here, regardless, as tonight is for all, not for our own. And it's always a pleasure to meet, friends of the Marchese.
Are you based here in San Francisco, or have you...
Oh no. I am only visiting, much like the Marchese, to make sure our illustrious Giovanni are doing well and doing exactly what they're supposed to do, of which they seem to be doing so, which is always a very good thing. You do agree? And as you gather, for me, and he sort of looks at the Marchese at this point, unity of our clan is always important. Which you see a glimmer on the Marchese face at this point, considering what has just happened. And and he says, well, ladies and gentlemen, I will leave you to your me and the Marchese will leave you, so you can enjoy the rest of the evening. And the Marchese and that sort of wander off. And a gentleman, what have you been seeing all night, with the black glasses, sort of wanders over, seeing that you're all together. And sort of takes advantage. And he sort of looks at Renata and Dante. Am I talking to the child of the Marchese?
You are? Who are we addressing?
I would like to introduce myself as Giancarlo Giovanni. Like yourself, I am new to the city, and believe that you're staying in the city.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Oh, it is indeed. It's always a pleasure to meet a fellow Giovanni, and your companions, which he seemed to pointedly ignored at the moment.
And how may we help you?
Oh, it's just me, saying hello as a fellow Giovanni?
A pleasure. You been here for a long time?
As I said, like yourselves, I have only arrived. And settling into the city? We should talk some more, I believe. Certainly about the things to do with our clan and the family. If you would be agreeable.
Is that a conversation for now, or would that be for another evening?
He sort of pointedly looks at the rest of the William then what? Another time, I believe. Some in that round here in this group are not family, if you understand what I mean.
I do.
Insurrectionists.
We can leave if you would like us to.
No, this is not the time and place for this discussion.
I'll take a card out of my pocket and hand it over.
Yeah.
It's it'll be on like the hospital,
Yeah.
like a hospital business card.
And
This is
what's
my business number.
Renata will pass him her number as well. She's got a very flash card out of her wallet. It's probably sort of
yeah.
heavyweight and with a gold edge to it.
Oh no. And he will hand you both his card. And he sort of looked. It was nice meeting you, Renata. And Dante, and walks off. He still ignored the rest of you around there.
What does his card say?
Big head.
Yeah, it's Giovanni. Giancarlo Giovanni. And it just has a number.
It doesn't have any indication what
Nope.
it does. Okay.
Nope. It's about midnight, isn't it?
Did you say he was wearing sunglasses?
No, he's wearing very thick rimmed glasses, as in...
He's the accountant.
Yes. Spoke with... You would recognise, and Dante would recognise with a Roman accent. As opposed to a... Doing this... And he was being very kind. He was doing it... He did this all in English and not in Italian. Which is a little surprising, to say the least. You would have thought he said it in Italian. You can work out what you will would do that. And as you're there, was it Dominic appears again, and sort of as it says to both, sort of as it taps both Philip and Felix's shoulders, and he says, would you come with me please, the prince is on his way. You don't want to be here, do you?
I feel I'm intruding slightly. Must admit. This is more a family
Actually,
gathering,
no.
I think.
No, it'd be only to Felix, because the other one, because Philip is being seen by the prince, hasn't he? No, this is to, was it Felix? He'll say, you don't want to be seen by the prince, do you?
Not particular.
Follow me.
I'll follow him.
Yeah, he will guide you. As you go out, the prince and two of his, cohorts walk in. And walk straight up to the Marchese and Ewan. And it seems, both of them do the bow to the prince. They seem to have a talk, of which it's very general about the prince. He thought he was make an appearance, as this was an important meeting of the Hecaton. It would be nice to see who was here. Reiterates that his laws of the city, so no breaking of this. Reminds them that this place may not be Elysium, but is still subject to the Masquerade, so no breaking the rules. Basically he bows after doing this. He sort of walks round the room, sort of scoping who's actually here, of which the likes of Sebastian and some of the groups bow their heads to him in deference. Some of the others don't, and certainly the Catwoman doesn't. The lady in the dress does. A gentleman, and one of the other gentlemen one was discussing with the mask, who is still discussing with the mask, sort of bow towards the prince, and so do all the others basically, and he sort of walks out, of which Felix you're sort of found and brought back into the room. And anybody's watching the Marchese and Ewan seem to be a little agitated by the fact that the prince came. The
I'll
prince came.
thank Duncan for his help.
You mean Mr. Franco? It's Franco was, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Duncan.
No, it's Dominic the Franco, yeah, the Luca that did it. Dominic was doing was the other things. The masked gentleman sort of sees you all together and starts to wander towards you as a group. Along with, was it the two dandies who seem to be sort of doing it. No, there's two. There's actually three. The other one's quite happily in this conversation talking to the guys in suits. And they...
as in the French Giovanni's.
Yes. No, as in the two Frenchmen that Felix... not Felix, who talked to them? No one's actually talked to them. As in... No. And the masked
Well, they
guy...
looked in disdain at the rest of us, and they only spoke to the Marchese.
This is true. The masked guy sort of wanders up to you and sort of bows to you all. Good evening. And sort of looks at Dante and Renata. I believe you are the childer of the Marchese?
At this point, I walk away. So I'll leave you to family business.
I'll give you a nod. We are.
Who's walking away? Your Felix?
Yep.
Yep, that's fine. Yeah. He sort
Well,
of
this
looks.
has echoes of exactly the last conversation. So picking up on those signals, I will just slide off.
Yep. He looks. Well, you wouldn't look. It looks at the mask. Sort of looks at Renata. Is there anything I said to that gentleman to offend him? You can't say.
I think he's just going to refresh his glass.
Very good.
Renata smiles in the hope that she's covered this well enough.
I am Mr. LaRose, a member of your own clan. From the mask, I am...
What? Sorry, I didn't catch that. My headphones aren't great.
Mr. De La Rose. De La Rose. He said from the mask, you should be able to guess. I am a member of the Harbingers of Ashur. As always, we wear the mask.
What sort of accent is he speaking with?
He speaks with I think it's French. Yes, with a French accent.
I immediately didn't like it. I gather, and your companions? He sort of looks at Buzzit, Philip, and William over there.
Yes, apologies, William McLeod. William will bow.
Nice to meet you, Mr. McLeod. And
Philip Dunson.
My fellow visitor Hector. Nice to meet you, visitor Philip. Though visitor, your family doesn't tend to wear masks as we do.
Sorry, Andy, I didn't catch the last part.
Oh, so he said your family doesn't wear masks much as we do?
Can't say we do, no.
No, this is an old thing. You would have to know why we wear the mask. If I remember rightly, Renata, your uncle has met, was it Harbingers at another time?
Yes, a number of years ago in Egypt, of all places.
Oh, and a lot later in, I believe, Venice.
Quite possibly. My uncle travels extensively.
Oh, you do know, he did tell you that he was part of the attack on Venice that formed this clan. He seems to make a lot of play about the situation. Of course, you can't see, you can only hear in the voice there is a little mockery in the voice. Why are you in the city? Are you putting roots? Or are you going when your uncle's going?
I work in the city, and
Ah.
Renard is a long-lost relative of mine and is visiting for a while.
Oh, indeed. Very nice to know. Myself, I'm here purely for business. Have you heard of the Black Madonna?
I don't believe I have.
Ah. A few years ago, was it, this creature, how you say, started to kill other vampires and has been doing so over the United States for a long while. It is believed she has, was it, connections with the underworld? Some very dark connections there. And I have, how you say, set my own, was it, task to hunt her and destroy her.
When you think this Black Madonna is in San Francisco?
Oh, it does look like she is. As in,
What makes you think that?
you sort of thing. Very weird coming from a Giovanni. How do you think I would know?
Spirits.
I was
Ghosts.
going to go with good luck and charm.
Ghosts.
That side of the family skill set has never been of any interest to me.
Ah, indeed. Not the, how you say, the Giovanni. Far too interested in ghosts at times.
I prefer my colleagues to be somewhat living.
Of course. A deference to where the clan came from. You do know your history, don't you, Dante?
Of course.
All the bloody history.
I wouldn't go so far to say as all of it, but I was raised in a proper home and taught the histories.
That is always good to hear. Of course, too, was it Philip? It may be, was it thing for William? It depends how much you have told him.
William is a companion of Renata. That
Then
is
may know
what
enough.
she told him.
As I'm in the city, if I needed help, could I call on you for help in my hunt?
Depending on what aid you need.
Of course. And was it what payment?
That too.
So we may talk again. Good night, was it, ladies and gentlemen? Nice to make your acquaintance.
I'll just bow my head to him.
Pleasure to meet you, Monsieur Dolores.
And a pleasure to meet you. And of course, this mask hides many sins, including my true origin. And he sort of wanders off and walks out. Now, is Felix coming back once the gentleman's disappeared to have a talk to the dandies, or is he going to sit there and skulk while this is going on?
No, to be honest, I'm interested in talking to the Samichi, so I would
yes.
probably aim in that direction.
Yes. He seems to be...
The only reason I left was the conversation started exactly the same way as the one before.
Yes,
So I took that to mean an exit. So I wasn't being rude, I was just basically being polite.
Right. You're going to miss... Well, right. You're going to talk to Submiss. Well, gentlemen, as he goes, the dandies walk in. And we'll leave it at that point. As the dandies walk in, we'll go over to Felix. Yes, you'll find the gentleman in question. He's talking to a very straight English gentleman. And the large gentleman you saw with the dandies, and they seem to be deep in conversation. From as you walk up to them, you can hear they're talking finance. The one gentleman is talking about something called the Pony Express, and talking its virtue as in that. And as you come up, they sort of turn towards you. And was it the one
just
that
basically polite? If it's okay with you, can I join in, or do you want to continue talking?
No, you was it the Samisi? Was it said feel free to join us? And I am
called Felix.
I am. Oh, I've lost his name. You're a little bugger. Look at his name. Oh, was it? I'm Mr. Morno. Morno. This is my companion. Was it? I hate it when I do this. I've lost all that paperwork. This is my companion. Mr. Christian Winters, and was it Captain Carty? We were, discussing we were only discussing business in the city, and Mr. Carty, Carty, C-A-R-T-Y, Carty.
Okay.
And Mr. Carty was Captain Carty was it talking the virtues of something that his and his venturing colleagues have set up called the Pony Express. Apparently it's a service which allows people to send messages via couriers rather than the usual methods. Far more secure from the the Second Inquisition.
Sounds very interesting.
This is what I thought. Was it virtues? The captain was doing this. I gather you're not like your companion, Philip. You're not into a business. I gather you're familiar.
I have interests. I'm not without my own resources or businesses, to be honest.
Yes.
I just don't. Well, I'm in business for a different reason, not necessarily to make money.
So you're not into the the cut and thrust of the stock market. And the other one, the large gentleman, will say, perchance you're interested in art? And he looks ever hopeful.
Not really, but I haven't really come across much in the way of art. It's
well, if you are interested in art, and he sort of produces a card, and it's I haven't got the name here, but it's to do with a gallery, and he hands you over a card. If you're ever interested in art, visit this gallery.
okay. I give him my card. I've got probably a fairly bog standard business card. It just has my name on it and
thank you. If you
it'll have my burner number on it as well.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. And if you're ever interested in art, as you said, it's always fun to visit this place. I might actually, I have got the details of it there with me here. I can put that on your, when I can get to type.
Always into being enlightened.
Yes. We have.
Just out of
Go on.
Just out of interest, when you call yourself captain, is that a military or a naval or something different?
Military.
Okay.
He says, I was in. Oh, how do you say? SOE?
Oh, right.
That a long time ago.
Ooh. All sorts of clandestine stuff then.
He sort of smiles and said, more like, was it getting messages? Nothing
I'm
quiet.
Say code ciphers and all things.
Well, more to do was
Heading
it
sideways.
more to do with was it getting things from A to B as in messages. We did, how you say, some more mundane stuff. Nothing.
So a bit of logistics.
Yes, nothing so spectacular, I am afraid. The more.
Oh, I bet that's absolutely wrong.
He
You
sort
know
of
a lot more than you're letting on.
Oh, of course.
He says that in a very jokey way. He's not trying to offend.
He sort of smiles. I would gather that my companions here mentioned the Pony Express. I'm the local agent. If I can get messages across the states for you via couriers.
I take it they're both interested in terms of Mr. Mono and Captain part of the same. Well, I'll ask him. Are you part of the same Pony Express thing? Do you both?
No. I have only just met Mr. Mono, and he's only just met me, and the same with this gentleman here. I'm, how you say, recent like yourself, here, posted here by the Pony Express to be its agent. It sort of gives you a big wad of cards and saying, you and your friends just take these if you need messages taken across.
Oh, I'll take a few cards off him. This is Mr. Mono, isn't it? He's the
No,
Pony
Mr.
Express.
Carty, Captain Carty.
Oh, he's the, right. Okay.
Yeah, he'll also give you the cards. And he's the agent of the Pony Express. And he says, if you excuse me, gentlemen, I have other things to do. And he sort of...
really nice to have met you.
And you. And he sort of wanders off to, finds another victim, sort of. And was it, so Felix, you have, other interests here?
Yeah. Basically, I have some gymnasiums and basically some dojos and boxing clubs.
And like, was it your companions, of which I gather one.
I'm not like anything like my companions.
Oh, an interesting mixture. I see. The Marchese's Childer and companions.
Yeah, that's probably a way to look at it.
Yes, and what do you think of the Marchese's Childer? Or Childs?
I'll let you make your own mind up on that.
Very smart.
Out of turn for me to make that, but they're pleasant enough.
Smart, Mr. Felix. Oh, I gather. Don't fall for obvious traps in conversations.
No. I'm interested in something else. You mentioned that you were, and I accept this, I'm not questioning it, you were not Sabbat, and therefore potentially are you Oldsome each?
There is no distinction from the clans anymore. Just those who decided to stay and those who never were.
Okay, because I'm pretty sure there are Oldsome each, and there are the more modern Sneech.
There is a distinction between the two, in so much, but it's mostly age. I am of the one that business is far more important than chaos, if you understand what I mean.
I think so.
Sabat is bad for business.
Sabat is just bad, let alone anything else.
He sort of looks... Yes, indeed. And was it I believe there is Lazomba around in the city too.
There's a what? Son? Oh,
Lazomba.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. Anyone's on the right side of
The Camarilla.
divide. Yeah. Well, yes. Camarilla is one aspect of it. I think there is a place for the Incornu and maybe for more independent groups. At least as long as they follow
The rules.
we say, yeah, the Masquerade, and don't jeopardise that. Anyone that does really deserves.
Of course, as I said, was it biting people and generally doing various gratuitous stuff messes the office up, if you understand.
Yes,
It
definitely.
makes business a little difficult, though.
It just spoils it for everyone.
Though sometimes with some of my rivals it would be rather entertaining to do so. And he sort of smiles. In the cut and thrust of the business, sometimes he would really like to kill people. He sort of smiles.
Well,
But you couldn't call me the wolf of Visita. The wolf of Visita. Oh, what's that film? Oh, Wolf of Wall Street.
oh, right,
Yes.
yeah. DiCaprio.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah. Though it can be like that at times. It's nice to meet you, Felix. I do hope we talk again.
Oh, I would love to talk again,
And he sort of hands you his card.
and vice versa. Very interesting.
Oh no. Yep. And in the meanwhile, others are getting a definite interesting visit. And actually these two will be combined together, and that should be near the end of this. I might not run everything tonight, as we're getting near the end. I think we've done more than enough tonight. Right. Some bits didn't go in, but I think I've given you a hell of a lot to play with. In the meanwhile, the two dandies come along, and the one in the gentleman dress speaks with a very heavy French accent. The other one speaks in a English accent as you get near him. And
I'll definitely drop into French.
oh, you're going to join them as you do this?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's
we can
the
delay
guy I
this.
wanted to speak to.
Yeah, okay, yeah, we can fiddle this around. You have the conversation, it's quick enough. You return as they sort of approach, and they sort of approach. The gentleman in the suit or the hat looks proper, down to the frills, the wigs, and all that. And saying the other guy, he sort of bows extravagantly. And he says, "Let me introduce myself. I am the Comte Charles, and this is my companion, Mr. Rochford."
Give him my name, full name, and nod as well.
Yeah, it's actually going to approach the lot of you altogether. So Felix, you're the first to say anything.
Okay.
Yep. And nice to meet you, Felix. But that's it. You're not the reason I came over here. And sort of turns over to. It was this young lady here. I believe is Renata, who is a dress designer, I believe.
Yes.
So I have been told by your, was it uncle? By the Marchese.
Yes, I'm a designer. I run my own business in my own right. Have done for many years.
Ah, nice to meet you. I am being rude here. Who else is here? Who are these other, was it, gentlemen? Especially that one at the end, sort of points in direction of William. The one that hides behind a mask.
Yes, that one, William MacLeod, and I can indeed vouch for Renata's ability to create high fashion.
And he sort of looks at the other ones.
If it can make me look good, it can work wonders for the average person.
These would have to work miracles in your case.
William just stares unimpressed back at him.
He sort
with
of
a
was
slight
it.
smile on one side.
Yeah,
of the-
just sit there. And this gentleman here, was it pointing out, looks at Philip. Seems to be a businessman of sorts.
Philip Dunson.
Ah, I see. Felix I've also talked to, and this other one, I believe, is Dante.
You are correct.
Nice to make your acquaintance. Another, was it one of us, the Marchese's children, I believe.
I'll shake his hand. Now, before I do it, I've got a question.
Go on.
Does... Oh no, because I haven't got the strap on. No, ignore me. I haven't got a question. I will squeeze his hand and shake it, but quite hard. Like, harder than it needs to be.
Yeah,
I can't say it's the same.
he doesn't seem perturbed by it for some reason. That is a very firm shake, is it, young gentleman? But what do you expect, being, how you say, a child of such an illustrious, was it, Marchese? Unlike others, who, was it, are just, how you say, commoners through and through.
And how is it that two Toreador are invited to a Hakata gathering?
Because, was it, others were. As in, you look round here, you will see there are Ventru, even another sewer rat here.
What makes you two special? What I'm saying is, why are you worthy of our time?
Because we live here. We have our own, how you say, a gallery, artists in our own rights. My companion here makes, was it, fine period costume.
So
Who
you
would
play
like?
cattle for a living. I see.
Sort of laughs. And, was it, my companions, he points to the two, was it, in black, and make music. There is also another artist who paints pictures in the ether, as you might say. And
That doesn't strike me as important to the clan.
to the Akato it
Or
may not be.
important to anyone.
Oh, I, was it, would tend to, was it, disagree, was it, Dante. We may be artists, but was it, Toreador, like the Ventru, have been the backbone of the, was it, Camula. We too play our little games. I was not a cunt for nothing.
You said was.
Yeah,
Are you not now?
I am dead.
You're dead. Perfect. So, I'm wasting my evening talking to a dead man.
He sort of walks up to you. I
I'll
came
check
over.
his gaze.
I came over here to, was it to talk? Was it about fashion? But I don't think I'm going to get the pleasure to do so.
Not
Do
when
I,
you sound
don't?
like companions, no.
You, sir, have ideas above your station. You, sir. He gets close and whispers in your ear. Do not know who you're dealing with. Do I make myself clear?
No one of import from what you've said. Good evening.
He sort of stares there and sort of taps the cane on your shoulder. We'll see. And he walks up to, walks up to William. Says this, loud enough so you can hear. I know who you are, William MacLeod. And I know what you are. The accent changed for a short while. You can't pin it, but you've heard it before. And he walks off. Come on, Mr. Peter. Our time is finished here. Make a word, William. Make a memory, which will be a intelligence plus. Ooh, something interesting. I'm trying to think what will be appropriate for memory.
Intelligence wits?
Yeah. Will William make an intelligence and wit?
Intelligence and wit.
Roll, please. Make it difficulty 2.
Difficulty 2. I have an idea already.
Yeah, this will just
For a very specific reason.
The accent changed from, what was it, from French to something else?
No, it's for you. It's again when you make the same roll. You haven't heard it in 10 years.
Yep.
And I think that might be the best point to leave the game, because we've got to stop at 10.
What was the roll I need to make, sorry?
Wits and intelligence.
Any chance of discerning from his French accent where he roughly came from, or
Not
his
really.
origins from?
It's not really, no. What I might have to do is, if you want to go Dylan, there's not a lot to go on after this that you need to be involved with. I can continue on for a short bit with these guys.
Yeah.
It'd be easier because I think it also leaves it at a high point for you, going face to face, and I'll tell you why in the next game.
Yeah, I've got an earlier get up tomorrow because I need to
Yeah.
get ready for my graduation.
Oh, wish you luck.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's go
Yeah.
pick up an expensive piece of paper that isn't actually there. It's a tube with some ribbon wrapped around
Yes.
it. But hey ho.
Oh, I wouldn't have to say. It's a very valuable piece of paper. I had mine on the wall with the magic words of Bachelor of Science 3rd class honours. It doesn't
I
actually.
want letters after my name.
I do.
I want something cool.
I can put at the end of my name a BSc Ons Lun. I don't as a rule. It doesn't even tell what the degree is for. But my actual degree in real life is a degree of physics and astrophysics. And I am not kidding, that is my degree.
Nice.
I'm just learning how to look after little brats.
Ah, that's as good as that's as good as anything. Right, are you going to make the roll, Renata?
Right, love you and leave you.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Here we are.
Please like this. Bye.
Is that
Bye.
How do I do the roll? So it's slash roll.
Yeah, do it in your own channel because.
Okay. And then how do I tell it how many dice I want?
Right, it's wits and intelligence, so you add those up. So
Yep, I've got those.
difficulty 2.
Do a blood surge.
Don't. Don't. I think you know who it already is. And your hunger you would add on, so it's be.
Oh,
So it'll be your wits and alertness.
my pool is how many dice that I have.
Yep.
Okay. My hunger is.
It's your current hunger. You've got 1 hunger at the moment, haven't you?
Okay. Okay. 1. Oh. 1, and then difficulty 2.
2.
Right. Oh.
Oh! She got it. Oh, I know what it is. Oh, I need to make.
Oh, was that a good roll? I thought it was a bad one.
No, it.
Okay.
Right.
The dice in this game are really different to D&D. I thought I
No, it isn't. This is one I've got to work out later. It's probably there's probably enough to scare yourself. Unlike. I think for that one we'll get them all. I think you'll remember that situation.
Not come through yet.
I haven't finished.
Oh, okay. Oh no.
I think you will remember that one. And I'll work out what I need to do. I'll give you a subtle hint. He's just got a messy critical.
Yeah, I figured. The anti-Becky roll.
The anti-Becky rule.
It doesn't say not red. I assume that red was naturally
No, it's not a failure. That is not a failure. That's
It's
something.
if you roll a 10 on a hunger die. So it's
Yeah.
like you succeed really well, but the beast is like, I'm having some of that. I'm gonna help you out here.
Oh yeah, no, it means something else will occur later on. And someone just stood up to him.
Bugger me.
Yeah.
Yep, that's.
Fucking Dylan.
What the fuck did he do?
Are you saying that out loud?
No, that was me. Renata just tries to, like, hold it together.
Because anybody's watching Renata after this discussion, it's obvious that she looks rattled by this guy's presence. Really does. She looks rattled.
Do you know what? Renata goes in her purse, she grabs her box of cigarettes, and she just lights one.
For Philip and Felix, you've never seen her do this. This vampire has just has started smoking.
I mean, I will.
I thought
have
you
sort of-
carried. I thought you carried one of those sort of elongated cigarette holders. I thought
No,
you
Uh,
chain smoked.
She doesn't. She would have done when she was alive, but she's probably got rid of the habit in terms of the, like, I don't know what they're called. Cigarette holders, that's the one. Just because it looks weird these days.
And if you're watching the gentleman, the dandy and the other one, he is at the moment that group is leaving. As in himself, the other guy, the two not goths, industrial and the one Ventru are leaving.
I take a mental note of everybody who has walked out with him right now.
Yeah.
Likewise.
Yeah, really, for the other guy, she really does look rattled. She's probably now onto her second cigarette already.
Philip's just ignoring whatever's going on with Renato, just as a...
Yeah, out of politeness.
We're in a garden, aren't we?
You're in the middle of... Actually, no, you're in the middle of a glorified, was it a...
The big stone
Gazebo.
gazebo? Yeah, but with walls outside. As in, not walls, as in pillar columns, and you can walk into a garden.
Yeah, I've seen the picture. Can I see my uncle anywhere?
Yeah, she's sort of busy, was it, sort of talking to, was it, to Ewan and some other, and basically probably with what Felix would know would be the captain, and probably the one Giovanni with the glasses.
Renata's trying to get his attention without it being obvious to everybody else. So she takes a massive drag off her cigarette and blows the smoke right into the air.
Yeah, the fact that she's smoking is probably signal enough that something's wrong.
He sort of bows and excuses, and he sort of makes his way in your direction.
I know that he probably doesn't like the habit, so I drop the cigarette and grind it to the floor before he gets here.
Yeah. And he sort of looks. Renata? What is wrong?
The Count isn't who he says he is. I recognised his voice from a very long time ago. Cairo, for example.
That is going back. You probably have me at a disadvantage. It might be better to explain tomorrow night. Is he a present danger?
Yes. I take I imagine Renata's got one of her cards in her bag, so she'll just take a pen, she'll write on the back of it, and then she will pass it to him.
Is this the Crusader that
It's
went
got
missing?
the guy's name on it. It's just so that no one round us hears.
Yeah.
I say again, is it the Crusader that?
Sorry, that you're really
Oh,
cornered.
he said he's.
Sorry.
Go on.
Is it the Crusader that disappeared?
No, it was the dandy chap who was rude to William.
No, that's what I mean. But it's almost like that persona changed
Yeah.
slightly. Talking slightly out of game thing.
Yeah.
In one of the people that disappeared, there's a Crusader.
Ah, got you. Yes.
Oh, in the
Yeah, no.
timeline thing.
No.
Yeah,
No.
so it's not him.
not him.
Yeah, so Renata will write his full name down and
Yeah.
pass it to your uncle. We have a problem.
And I think, if I may say, RKZ, your other child, Dante, just made things worse. To be fair, unbeknownst to him, though there was unnecessary provocation involved.
We'll talk tomorrow night. This is not the place.
To be fair to Dante, if he hadn't have poked him with a necktie.
This is true.
You say...
Dante.
How you say a fortuitous accident?
Yeah.
We need to
If he
discuss
hadn't have
this.
been- If he hadn't have been so rude, we wouldn't have picked it up.
That's absolutely right.
Ah. I see, you mistaken the arrogance of a noble as rudeness. Easy mistake to make. If you were born of that time as I why you would have, we say, not been so offended. But you weren't. You were born of a time, of a different time.
It's very
It was-
unnecessary though. William's been a good friend to me over the years.
Well, he was bloody rude
Being
to
More
William.
respectful, especially as you get.
Thank you both.
No offence, William, but your clan have, how you say, always been treated, I would say, incorrectly with disrespect by those who, we say, not
No better.
yes. It's never a good thing to get on the wrong side of a Nosferatu.
Quite. Yes.
Oh, the heck
Whilst
it.
we may, indeed. Whilst I might seem to take things on the chin, I tend to take my time and use my resources and capabilities
Wisely.
as and when they exist.
Ooh, why I have your attention? Was it William? Could I have a quick word with you in private? If
Of course.
unless you don't mind.
Not at all. Renata goes in her bag and drags out cigarette number 3.
Tony, he knows. Yep, he sort of motions for you to follow him.
William shall
Yeah.
walk behind him.
Yeah, you sort of go back out much as was it someone else did. Right, I'll put you into the private channel.
Okay.
And as you go out, that is a bad business, William.
What? Sorry, I didn't quite catch that bit.
He said that is a bad business, William.
Yes, it is unfortunate. And I'm quite shocked to see him in like
True.
general company.
True. Enemy in sheep's clothing, but from the little of what I gathered, and was it Renata said, he is of that certain clan that can or has the ability to change his looks.
Yes. True.
Yes. Anyway, this was a good excuse to, how you say, get you away from, was it the rest of them?
Yes.
Considering, was it well, you actually get employed too by myself. The irony, I hope, the irony is, was it you are watching Renata on my behalf? And he sort of smiles. during the thing, have you met a Giancarlo Giovanni yet? The elder gentleman with the
Dark glasses.
That's it. Yeah, it
Yes,
was.
we have.
Well, I say,
He's on your radar, I take it.
oh yes, he's Giovanni, who certainly has ideas above his station within Hector, in so much he is of that Giovanni who wants to run the clan again. Something a lot of the Hector, including myself, the Dunstan and the Milners, don't want, for obvious reasons. I would like you to watch my children's reaction to him when they talk to him. Tell me if they are sympathetic or not to his cause. E.g., do they, how you say, agree to what he's saying or show sympathy for it. I will warn you, I will not tell them about what he's doing here, as I want to test their loyalty to the Hector. You understand?
Absolutely.
And I would be grateful if you did the same. And depending what happens, come back to me.
Of course, I'll. If you don't hear from me, assume that
They've
seems fine. But
excellent.
I will advise if, as you say, sympathy or agreement with
Excellent.
How should I reach you? Quick message?
Usual methods, as in, was it as we've always done? There's a way, you've got to drop off, as you've always been doing. Oh, well, I have you here. Was it just continue on watching her, and was it Dante?
Of course. While I have you, Marchese, there was a Nosferatu at the party tonight. He seemed particularly interested in your movement and our movement. Should I be concerned by her?
No, that is a typical Nosferatu.
That's what I thought. But I wanted to check.
Plus, I'm not exactly hiding here. It is meant to be, much to the Giovanni's, was it a discomfort?
Very true.
He sort of smiles. I do apologise to you for my behaviour earlier. It was a little unseemly.
That's okay. I can see where Dante gets it from.
Oh, indeed. Dante is, as all the family, a little of a firebrand. Yes, he will need watching. Let's go back and visit her. I think it's time to wind things up. I think we've all had a, how you say, an eventful evening.
Yes, some might say too eventful.
Very true. Right, I will take you back to the other ones.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And if he didn't know, then he'll also, his companion will probably tell him.
Very true.
Anyway, was it William comes back and the Marchese comes back, and he sort of goes, quietens everybody down and says, as always, ladies and gentlemen, a good evening has to come to an end, and that time has come. I thank you all for attending tonight, regardless of what happened, of which, as always with our gatherings, is of an interesting matter. So, good night everybody, and have safe journeys home. And he sort of goes there. And at which point,
Say good night as well.
yeah, and at this point people start to put the glasses, go out and take the hint that they're sort of going, and the servants start to clean the stuff up, as in fairly quickly removing any evidence over there, and the was it not the, and the Marchese comes to you lot. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was an interesting evening. I gather it was a very enlightening evening for us all. I also gather that some of you gathered some useful contacts. And I apologise for my behaviour tonight. Just sometimes things get the better of me. And we'll talk tomorrow night about certain other matters. I think I believe we have 2 matters to deal with now. Things just got very complicated, didn't they, Renata?
Yeah.
And very
I do think one thing, that was a bold move by that gentleman. That might say a little bit about maybe how careless he's actually been in more sense than one. Maybe a little over dramatic as well.
From what I gathered, he's a toreador. So what do we expect of the artists? They may be the backbone of the Camula, but they're also flighty, dramatic. What do you expect of actors and the such?
You did properly glance out.
He certainly did, ladies and gentlemen. And put a good show of planting, if I remember rightly. But we'll see. I think after tonight things are going to get, how do you say, interesting and complicated. So I will take your leave. You can, as you see things are packing up here, you can go home, and I'll send you a message the time I'll want to meet you tomorrow night.
Okay.
Of course. Yes, Renata?
No, I was just gonna. I know Dylan's not here, but Renata will have a word with Dante before we leave. And she will just tell him that if you have anyone you care for, get them out of San Francisco.
Yeah. I just love that. Okay, so we'll actually call it an evening at that point. And thank you for your patience tonight, because those are some of the most complex scenes to actually run. And I hope you all enjoyed it.
Yeah.
That was
good.
That was really hard work, and there's about 2 things you didn't do, but to be fair, they're not that important in the end. I'll just close the recording down if I can find it. That's another 3 gigs of recording.